It's on the toppings later. That'll be a key negotiations. And if there's a gluten-free person, you may have to do salad. But that's important for me. So just beginning introductions.
Hi, Jonah Mundy, 6th grade teacher at Griffin Middle School.
All right.
Jacob Dumbledore, Cobb Middle School.
Kim Strelo, Cobb Middle School.
Scott Mazer, LCT.
Pamela Weston, Chief Negotiator, Leon High School Business Education.
Chris Eagle, FEA staff person.
Alicia Chelman, I'm an ESC teacher at Sealy.
Laurel Bedford, I'm a second grade teacher at Sealy.
All right.
Sarah DeCock, speech language pathologist.
All right. My kids have been through Leon. My wife's worked at Leon. I am a big fan of this district. I know there's differences. There's always going to be differences. But I know, I think we can get it done. The approach I propose, and this is up for debate, is to try to get through some things that I think are easier to get through in the beginning and try to get a positive flow where I don't think, I think there's more room for agreement than as we go along. So like there's two MOUs that, as I know, and I've read the minutes, so the reason that we don't need 20 people on our side is I think we've batted around a lot of this language for a long time. And so I think we know where everyone stands. So do you have any issues just going through the MOUs?
Yeah, I've got wellness MOU we're ready to agree to.
All right,
I don't know if you guys need a copy of it, but
I'll take full credit for negotiating that.
Is that the wellness?
Yeah.
yes, wellness, yeah, wellness. You want to go to the other one?
So you guys are ready to, you guys are filed that?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we got to sign. So
Oh, you want to sign right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you sign, Chris signs, I sign.
I've had several agreements.
I'll sign first.
And then
We
we
need
walk
two
away
copies of
without
it?
signatures.
Yes, we each have to choose an
And then they
original copy.
don't get signed.
There'll be two originals.
Sure, sorry.
This is mine. Did you give me one?
Then they sign and then they're gonna have their sign. There's two originals.
It was whatever Diana sent us.
How many do we need? Do you want two?
We're signing one over here.
Cheers.
Two. I had a district that had 4, and I said, why do we need 4? And they said, I don't know. I said, what about 2? And they're, all right.
Design that district. Design one where every signatory gets one.
Yeah.
Well, we're okay. I think you've got one there. That's your copy, and we'll sign this one, and we'll be. We'll give it back to get
I just have
Rocky's
to,
signature.
as soon as I get Rocky, actually, if you want to put all 3 of them here, I'll get Rocky's signature on it.
You would like 3 of them?
Well, sorry, 2.
Okay, I was
thought we
just double
had
checking.
Two's good.
2's fine.
We'll just keep those there, and then we'll go through at the end and make sure we have them all.
I can actually send it over to, with Will's got to go see Rocky here in a second. I'll send it with him to get signed.
We'll wait for them all. All right, so the next one, are there any issues on the MOU on the gifted endorsement?
So we do have some additional changes on the gifted, more about here, just get some slide.
Here's a couple copies for you. That way, if other people need to see them.
So there was some clarification.
find out if this is permissible. I don't know. So I'll ask the person.
I think the concern was that, the understanding was if there's $15,000 for this and only 2,000 is spent on that, then the remaining 13 could just go to whatever, but they want it to be retained for that specific purpose in perpetuity.
Okay, I'll find out if the grant, some grants like our favorite ESSER,
Yeah.
I had a district found out yesterday, they had to give back 2 million because they didn't spend it. So at the end of the year, they gave
Right.
it back. I'm like, why didn't you spend it?
So as we understand, this is just kept within the district and is not returned, so that's what stimulated this particular counterproposal.
Okay, fair
Per an
enough.
But yeah,
email
let us know if
from
that is
the
it.
director to Brett.
Leonard,
That
I'll
was
find
forwarded
out.
to me.
Okay, we'll find out.
Look, I've got the email if you want it.
No, I trust
So,
you.
Okay,
that's it for that.
so that's it for that one.
All right.
What's the little six after this?
Fours don't cancel.
Yeah,
because
fours don't cancel
The line
out.
goes right over the four, so
Oh.
it's supposed to be, it's strict, there's a strike through. You just can't see it.
So the July 1, 26. So what is the 6 for?
Well,
It's,
it's supposed to go to 2026,
Six.
but a 4, the strike through is
You
where the
can't-
bottom of the 4 is.
so you can't see the strike through on a four.
Okay.
So,
I
go,
asked the
go
same
figure.
thing. Yeah, it's just there.
Little green.
Okay, so get this guy, we get this guy. Okay.
Okay.
Let me know what has that.
So we have payroll deductions. So I had a really good session in a lot of places, and the district would strike the whole thing, and there was a feeling that like the district and the legislature were somehow in agreement, and this is not one that we're in agreement on that, getting rid of. It just happened, we have to follow the law. I have a simple sentence, and then we could decide how to keep the language. My sentence is, the parties agree that under Florida law, the language in Article 22.02 below is null and void. Should the law change and permit the school board to allow the union dues payroll deductions, the parties will meet and negotiate the same language or modify as the law requires. And if we want to keep it, we'll keep it. I had such agreement in another district, and it almost fell apart over this language. If we want to say the parties will meet within 30 days, because if you say the parties will meet, sometimes they never meet. If you want to pin that down and discuss it later, we know this is a problem. This was never our problem. This was from somewhere else, as you know. So, any thoughts on?
So our proposal was gonna be the current contract language but we had made some modifications.
Nope, we did.
It's kind of similar.
Well, yeah, at one
That's
point-
not ours. It's
I know
just-
that that's not ours, but at some point we had,
So we had a similar
Yeah.
sentence kind of stating that it would be kind of automatically come back, the language. A question I would have for you, are there any districts that have just left it in pending litigation? Because the districts have already stopped for a while, so it's kind of superfluous at this point, it's just bookkeeping.
No, I know,
Potentially, yeah.
no, they're, most are done. Most just took it out, or I finally learned that it's so important, we have to say something positive up front, and maybe not strike it out and just say, just acknowledge. And then there's a lot of things, well, if a court of competent jurisdiction
Yeah.
rules it's no longer good, there is no court of competent jurisdiction, because Miami-Dade may rule that way, then the DCA may rule that way, then we gotta get to the Florida Supreme Court, and we'll all be retired by that time that happens. Or it could go federal court, then it could go, I mean, there's already a bunch of litigation not going anywhere fast. So the court of competent jurisdiction, I've learned that never works, because either side gets a win, it'll be appealed. So I'm just saying, should the law change? If it goes back, I think we can have a phone call and that goes, all this comes back. But I would probably want a public meeting, to notice a public meeting and just get it back in the contract. It probably would be an MOU quickly,
Right.
to just put it back in and then, now I have heard from some FAA people, it's such a nightmare, we don't want to go back. Don't care. This is your language, if you want it. I know EDUs was a pain in the neck. So anyhow, we don't want this topic, we want this to be a favorable topic, however you want the language. If you want 30 days, if you want, whatever days you want, and then if you want to fix stuff, I've never had a grievance in 30-plus years on this. So but I understand it's important for you not to see everything rejected. So think about it.
Okay.
All right.
So the other thing though, which we talked about was 22.08, for example, just should not be struck because, right, that's unrelated to the dues. That's about related sponsors, like could be American
Mhm.
Fidelity or something like that, and there's no law preventing that.
Good point.
And so I'll look at all of them, but my recollection is just 22.8 would remain. And there is, I think, another part in the contract that references this. So maybe that's it, but we'll have a look at that. and
So I'm
appreciate
gonna
that
write on
consideration.
mine, I'm gonna write unstrike.
Mhm.
And we actually have computers where we can do this correctly. But normally, I mean, I'm good enough about unstrike, but we can do it correctly later. If there's anything else.
Yeah.
Again, none of this, the big mistakes were my side and other districts were like, take it. And we're striking it all. And I don't care about this language. And I know your side. It was not a pleasant bill. So we don't want to make any friction at all over that. And we will reword it to make it as positive as you want to do. I think, I battled that, I finessed that language with a lot of districts, just make them feel like we'll go back as soon as we can whenever anything changes, if you want to go back.
Is there any particular reason that it states that we'll meet and negotiate the same language rather than just the same language goes back in?
I think I think you have to meet and do an MOU to put language back in a contract, technically.
Correct.
So it could be a 5-minute meeting. So it's the same language, or if there's a new law, new language.
Okay, I just wanted to
Okay.
understand that the intent was that it would be a meeting to just
Yes,
unstrike.
it would be a.
Not, we
for-
would like to
For the record,
negotiate.
yeah, it would be, in my mind, a 5-minute meeting with an MOU. Say this legislative session came to their senses and said, what a dumb idea, and they switched it. And we wanted to, we know the probability of that, but we would theoretically, and this is what we said in Walton, we would notice a public meeting, probably with just the president and just someone in the district, have an MOU ready, sign an MOU, put all this back in place. That's the intent.
And just from.
If you wanted it.
I understand, because the intent and how someone may read it is we have to negotiate the entire thing.
No.
So for clarity purposes,
If you want to.
I just need to know that, Brett, that do you want the specificity of it, or is the intent of it
Parties
still
will
okay?
meet.
I would agree that what it says matters, so.
Right, that's why I'm trying to make sure.
If you have I'm not married to sentence. If you have a better
Well-
phraseology, I'll take
The
anything.
parties will meet to reinstate the same language instead of negotiating.
All
Within
right.
30 days.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right.
But then, yeah, I think that kind of encompasses everything.
Yep, reinstate the same language. I
Thank
do
you,
think
Chris.
you need within 30 days,
Yes.
because teaching days are like dog years, so it'll go forever. I understand. 30 days.
Sorry.
Okay, that looks good.
Yeah, we'll talk
Thank
more
you.
about this, but this is.
Yeah. I was shocked in another district where we had everything agreed to, and that blew up. And I was like, okay, we're gonna give any language possible. My side didn't get it. They just thought, why can't we just delete it? I'm like, well, what if we had all our management rights just deleted? Okay. Again, in no perfect order, just my outside perception of where I think we have some commonality is on Article 14, vacancies and transfers.
Well,
Go ahead.
Can we table this one for a minute? We
We
have
can.
discussion points. We are not
Sure.
prepared to move forward with it as written as the MOU was.
No problem. All right, table.
And so we'll come back to that one after. So
Sure.
we have some easier ones I think we could
Okay.
do too.
Well, tell me, give me some easy ones.
Article 10.
All right?
I already handed it out. Yeah.
And I have been told no less than 1,000 times I don't speak loud enough. More than that. So just, if you don't hear me, just ask. I do have a hearing issue. My hearing is the opposite of, I don't hear enough, I hear it loudly. So I think I'm the loudest one in the room. I have been told by everyone to speak up. Right, so if you can't hear me, I'm just saying, I can speak louder if I'm told.
Okay, so everything that is green, we are in agreement to. We've added in 10.02B, personnel file and records. Um, 10.04 on the back. Claims for reimbursement must be filed with the Risk Management Office within 3 working days of the time of the incident. Forms for this purpose shall be available through that office and on their district webpage. So some digital. 10.06, the zero tolerance policy. So prior, we had the information there about leave, and it was 3 different bullet points. We've modified it to when an employee experiences a traumatic incident that could result in a criminal offense, they will be entitled to administrative leave. And then we have 10.07 on reporting of crimes. So I'll just read the whole green and red. An administrator or district employee shall follow up with the reporting employee on the outcome of the report. And then we had a reasonable time frame if appropriate. Then incidences that could result in a criminal offense shall be reported to the employee within 48 hours.
Okay, slow down, because
Sorry.
you all have lived with this forever, and I'm the new kid on the block. So let me get back to 10.7. The new is just incident could result in a criminal offense.
So I think the motivation to this was teachers experiencing these traumatic incidences, right? Like maybe a fight, assault, something like that, and wanting admin leave to deal with that, which could be a couple hours for a period, it could be the rest of the day, it could be the next day, depending on the nature. And then in some instances, there was lack of follow-up with the employee, given the severity of the offense. So,
Can you provide context to the red portion that you're adding? Exactly what you mean by that?
10.07.
Yeah, 10.07.
So if we report an incident in a classroom or an incident at the school site, and we're asking, okay, a reasonable time frame, but if it's one that's gonna have a criminal intention, then that would come out back to the employee within 48
Would that
hours.
be if if the student is charged, like arrested,
I'm not understanding the connection.
If-
Like, how does it work?
yeah, if.
So if a student assaults a teacher and they have the ability to press charges and they're trying to deal with whatever paperwork and the other things they have to deal with, maybe they have to go to urgent care or whatever it is, that they would have that leave.
10.07.
Yeah, we'll do.
And they
both.
would go ahead and have a response in that 48 hours as to where sometimes things linger. And we were told by some of the principals that things fall within a queue based off of their severity. So if it's skipping, it may not be
Right.
addressed for a couple of weeks, depending upon if there were more severe cases at the school side of behavior. We're just saying in the most severe, that
Yeah,
there's
if an
communication and
incident-
there's
If an incident with an employee results in a criminal, I would say first, it would be a charge first or arrest.
So we had a previous proposal with language that enumerated classes of offenses based on, I think, one high
Right.
school here, and then we said a class 3 offense, which is kind of what you're describing, but there was not a desire to use that school as an example. So we backed out what the class 3 offense was, which seemed to be mostly criminal offenses.
Okay. Incidents that could result, what about, isn't it incidents that result? You want to know, if they result in a criminal offense, you want to know within 48 hours. If they could, we would never, everything could. See what I mean?
Yeah, but, so now we're waiting for someone to actually file a charge to see if it's assault?
Yeah, the
or
principal
sustained?
can't
Yeah.
charge, the SRO can
Yeah.
only charge, the state attorney can only file. There's two people, there's either the SRO or the state attorney. And their terms of arts with kids. I have no problem notifying if there's a criminal offense. I mean, the more than likely, the teacher's going to be the charging person.
The victim,
Right, the victim, and
within 48
would
hours, have to
probably
be
know
notified.
faster than the administrator if they're going to. So I'm not opposed to letting them know this is a felony, this is a misdemeanor, or whatever happened to Johnny when Johnny acted up. But it'd be like within a certain time period that we found out, because it could be, with a juvenile could go, we have cases where they could go to you were with that group, they could go to the detention facility and then wait for a public defender, and nothing happens for a while. And
Yeah.
You're wondering was he charged or
Months,
not
yeah.
charged? I don't know, and I can find out if we have perfect access. Some of my districts, the sheriff plays well with the district and tells them immediately. Some give a morning report, some do not. So we want to give language that we can do. So we'll give on this language that we can actually do. I'll find out. I think it's incidents that result in a criminal offense shall be reported to you all, if they result in it. And when I say criminal offense, I guess you mean arrest and/or charge.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I think there's room there. And it should be that. All right, on the other one, going back to 1006. Wait. Result in criminal offense. I guess the only thing is to pin down.
And this is more imminent than 07 because it's like, it just happened, you can't wait for someone to rule on what happened.
Right. I'm just trying to see how, we know we don't want them to use their own leave. it's a battery, I know they would get workers' comp immediately. Some districts, you have to wait 10 days to get it. I think we get it immediately without using your leave. And so, I'm trying to say, how long would the leave be? Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
obviously, it would depend on what type of traumatic incident it is. It could be
Exactly.
6 months, which would be workers' comp.
Previously, we had distinguished based on those class of offenses, the severity of the incident.
Right.
To try it, because it is like, you know, you may need an hour or two in one instance, but in another, it could be a
Mhm.
6-month.
This could result. Is there any way to discuss, the person who goes on leave and doesn't come back? How we get them back? Say the workers' comp says you got 3 weeks, you've been treated, you can come back, and do you think this gives them, I'm afraid it gives them unlimited?
Wiggle room to say I'm still traumatized?
Yes. We don't sometimes you don't bargain for 99% of the people who do everything
Right.
correctly. There's the one person who likes to use some language that we didn't intend to use.
I think our intent of this language is more of an injunctive side of it, not like a long-term.
Mhm.
We would assume workman's comp would be handling more of a long-term issue like that. But it's more when an incident has occurred and there's a lot of like noise going on with what to do. The important thing for the teacher who's experienced that trauma is to be able to take a minute, whatever that is for the incident. Whether that's an hour, a day.
Okay.
So you're saying somehow tying it into workman's comp
No,
time? or-
no, it's
Yeah.
open-ended. I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, what I've done often with these phone calls is deal with it for the day, get them out of the building, and get them home, and then what?
Right.
And so this is agreed, get them home. It's not their leave. That's key. It's
yeah.
not their
Mhm.
leave. Get them home, and then what? And then, the then what is the issue of, typically, the procedures would be, someone would file workers' comp. If the person's not able to, someone would help them to get full pay, not on their leave.
Mhm.
And then, I think we are a little different than some on my board. We pay, going to doctor visits and doing stuff where others don't. That's on your dime. And so you would take leave to go deal with your psychologist or psychiatrist, whatever, if there was a really bad incident, I've seen them, and you gotta pay for that. That's not really workers' comp, in my opinion. But that's how some workers' comp, I don't do workers' comp, because I think it's a racket.
Will be entitled to administrative leave until a determination is made on workman's comp. And then workman's comp kicks in. Once workman's, and then like, I guess a secondary sentence would be, upon the expiration of workman's comp,
Employee may return.
employee may return to work or, sorry,
Situation.
or,
I think, I'm just talking out loud, this is not gonna work, but this is
Mhm.
how I work. Until a determination is made, if the situation triggers entitlement to workers' comp,
okay.
and then we don't care. Then it's between workers' comp and the whole system, and they could stay as long as they want, and it's not on their dime.
Mhm.
So, time to get out of the building, time to process the situation.
Mhm.
And not unlimited to where,
Right.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same page, we can probably fix that.
Okay.
All right, it's, all right, I think we can also fix your issue, legitimate issue on 1007.
Okay.
And I don't, 3 working days, that's fine, I'm not even gonna ask. If we have them on the district webpage, do we have them on the district webpage, these forms? Sorry, I'm
Personal
not,
property
I'm at
reimbursement.
1004. Okay, so that's good. And 1002, I'm not gonna hold that up, that's fine. So I think we're gonna land, we're very close. It's just a little wordsmithing to give you exactly what you want without that one person taking advantage of even a bad situation. Okay, that'll work. We'll come back up. Yeah, let me see. I forgot, we had a camera in this too. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Okay. I only have one, well, I think I only have one concern on 1009. I'm not gonna pass ours because there was more stuff in there that I don't know that we need to discuss. Because yours is pretty clean. On 1009, the issue, I would like to add, instead of all the language that we struck about FERPA, to say, individual records for current school year shall be available to all teachers of record for the current school year to create the best educational environment for the student to the extent allowable by law. I would like that sentence, because we have some wide open Skyward systems, or Focus, whatever we use here, probably Focus, where someone can go in first grade and look at fifth grade, with a quick, I'm not gonna use the word hack, with a quick end around, they can look at the board members' daughters' records. I've had this issue with, not Leon, but they're interested in what the board member's son is doing in high school, which is not appropriate. Just consider as allowable by law to put some parameters on teacher record and what they're allowed to look at.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Doesn't teacher of record prevent that first grade teacher looking at a fifth grade student? They're not teaching the fifth grade student.
You would think.
How does this language stop them, is what he's getting at, I think.
Thank you.
That'd be on you guys figuring out how to stop them, I guess.
Because there's some people in our unit, guidance counselors and
They're-
deans, right, that have
they're-
full access.
Right.
to
They're
any-
allowable by
Yeah,
law.
they're allowable. But if a teacher of record,
But they're not teachers of record.
I know, but they're allowed.
Right.
mhm.
So,
There's so many exceptions in FERPA
Mhm.
that you put in FERPA, we'd literally have 10 pages here, and there's a state FERPA.
So, I mean, I hear your concern and totally get it. I don't see how adding that helps you is all, because it wouldn't stop that example you gave of that person accessing it.
And that's not the only example.
Sure.
I just know, leaving it the way it is,
So I'm trying to think of how I could abuse it without that sentence, and I'm struggling. That's why I'm
all
like.
right.
Well, we'll talk about it in a caucus.
Mhm.
I think from a general sense too, we just want to make clear that any records that are available and open to anyone, to any employee, that it's going to be in accordance with FERPA.
We would expect that always, and if someone makes a request and you can't fulfill it, you would just cite FERPA or whatever law exempts it.
It may not help. It helps me sleep. So it may not matter, you're gonna get what you want.
Mhm.
So it may not matter, but I just feel like it's necessary. We'll discuss it later.
Just one final point on that. As Chris said, we do understand the concern, but it seems like it's more of a training issue, like what people can and cannot access and how they understand their professional responsibilities, and rather than, because if it's not covered, someone does it, maybe they don't know, but if it's covered, at least you've done your due diligence on your side. So that's just the observation we have on it, and we'll take it into consideration and
All right.
come back.
All right, and we're so close. So close. All right. I have, and you can tell me whether I'm right or wrong, Article 3 as not being too difficult. Am I wrong or right?
We would like to move forward with Article 3 as current contract language and not add in the additional note about using an electronic system. We originally talked about TAing it, after hearing additional feedback in regards to how the electronic system's working with other units and how small of amount of people are in our unit that need the electronic system. We don't know if it would really benefit this system.
So currently they sign in and out, as I understand it, on paper.
Hold on a second. This is our front office. Okay, that should be a comp. Oh, no. Okay, I got it.
Trying to find something. Okay, if we get rid of board-approved timekeeping system, can we put,
Could you pass
paper?
across your Could you pass across your?
Sure. I thought we did.
You have extras. There's at least one more I grabbed off the top for you.
I thought you had it, sorry.
Digitally.
Sure. So, if the issue is board-approved timekeeping system, just consider somehow memorializing, we need to have accurate records to pay people, I guess, what they're doing now, what do we call it? Sign-in sheets?
Yes, sign in, sign out sheets.
So a question is, we've heard from the other units that there's some overage under, like it's within a 15-minute time frame, how it works. It's not specific to what the work assignment is, it's what you're doing on the clock in and out. That's one of our concerns. The other piece is that
So
when,
do they round up or down? Is that?
Brett can speak to that a little bit more as far as the true time piece, I think, but the issue that we're really having though is that as a principal, you may or say your assignment is 3 hours. But that assignment could take 5 hours.
Then we need to pay them $5.
But the issue is this, and this is what I'm going to tell you. They're going to get upset and tell you you're supposed to click out 3 hours ago or 2 hours ago. It's because it's dollars, and the dollars are finite. And so this whole clicking in and out of what it is, yes, we want to pay them for everything, but at the aggravation of what could potentially come of now you need to clock out, but then you still need to do the assignment after, like, that's a concern of how that works. Is it as really as this is what the assignment took, or you said it's only going to take me 2 hours to do this assignment? I'm just trying to get an understanding of what the district's position
I
is.
can clarify that our position would be that for an hourly person who's in an hourly position, we're gonna pay them for all hours worked. If it takes 5 hours, then we're gonna pay them for the 5
And
hours.
if we have
Otherwise,
to
it'd
tell
be a
principal,
violation.
I know, this is back
This
to
is
the
the
training
budgetary
issue.
piece, right.
It's a training issue too. If a person's scheduled for 2 hours a day and is used 4 hours a day, we cannot pay him 2.5, we can't bargain with him. We have to pay him 4 hours a day. The other unit, we're into overtime. So
Are there cases where the other unit has been discussed that you need to clock out at this time because their job duties maybe went a little bit longer than what their traditional clock out time is?
hopefully not, because they have an easy grievance to file and win with a phone call. If they're not paid for time worked, that's just federal law.
Yeah, principals may say, I need you to clock out, but they're not asking them to then clock out and then come back and finish the job. So from a budgetary perspective, if they've got budgeted 2 hours, they would say, okay, I've only got you budgeted for 2 hours, but
Go home.
Go home, right? Don't continue to work, don't continue to do the task, because if the bottom line is we pay all hours worked.
And if I had a call of that situation, and I'm not saying it's impossible for 50 principals are gonna do it perfect. Wage and hours is not a fun law. It's usually what you owe, not if you owe. No one I've ever met, including law firms, are like, oh, go to trial for 70 hours and then take next week off. No, you owe her 30 hours overtime. Like, we still get this call every day, every week, blunders. So we have to, and I know you've heard this before, so you're probably going, broke a record. This is a sensitive topic of wage and hour because we have Morgan & Morgan in the town who could teach us how to do wage and hour at $500 an hour. and turn something into a class action. So I would think our side has a very, not on this language, on support staff to get it right. Can they get it right in every single department? No, but can food service get it right all the time? No, but when we learn, I would think it's the easiest fix in the role, it's the easiest fix to go back and repay someone or pay Morgan Morgan. It's just, I mean, I've had $300 cases and you wind up paying $20,000 to a law firm for $300. So it's an expensive lesson. I'm not gonna say in a district with thousands of employees, we're perfect. I can say if you called, this would not be bantered around the district for months. It would be, pay it, fix it. I mean, that's all I can say. And I can make that message clear to whoever, whatever department we learn is falling down on the job. So I'll just say, we'll come back to that. We're not gonna say, if you have an issue with board-approved timekeeping system, we'll walk that back. I don't know, I don't have any experience on the board-approved timekeeping system. At our office, you log in, when you log in, you're paid. If you don't log in, if you forget to log in and someone sees you there, we still pay you because we see you there. It's just weird. It was a big resistance, but it works. But if you're hearing stuff that's not working, pen and paper, I guess, that's what we're doing, right? But you're saying it's pen and paper and you gotta stay more. That,
We just want to make sure that we're very clear as far as communication, training, what happens and what the expectations are, because as a site-based district, how it's communicated at school A may be different than how it's communicated at school B.
Here's a suggestion that worked really well in another district when you have more than just money on the table. At the end of our settlement, because I'm confident we will, we'll have bullet points, joint bullet points, so we both understand the main points that have to be shared to your members and our staff. Not the word records, the big ones. Like, this is a big one. If you're scheduled to work 3 hours, and you're asked to work 5 hours, you will be paid 5 hours. That won't be in it, but the intent is walking away with a common understanding of what are the key issues to train to stop bargaining this issue next year, and the next year, and the next year, because I've seen that problem. And I've seen people train on the wrong language. So, I mean, we want to come to some agreement, which is a simple, not a 10-page dissertation. All right, we'll come back to that. Do you have any others you think are available?
That are easy.
Yeah, easier.
It may be, we're not sure. We know that supplements were being reviewed by the district as to which supplements were going to be added, modified. That was discussed. We weren't sure where the district was on that.
I view the supplements as probably last to the most challenging. I'll just say, there's a lot of green and red and blue.
We think we can simplify it in terms of the language part.
Okay.
Yeah, we think that the language part, we just need to go back to current contract language,
Okay.
unless it's been modified on your end in a
What-
different way.
Okay, let me,
We can pause on supplements and circle back.
No, I'm thinking out loud. If there was, because this is new to me, the green, the red, the blue. Okay, this is new to me. If you all agreed to green, would you keep the green? Or because there's blue, we're getting rid of the green? Do you understand that? It's not a great question, but.
I think I understand what you're saying, that can you live with the one color without the other?
Yeah, can you live with what we agreed to, and we both have stuff we still want? Or is current contract language the easiest?
Current contract language is the easiest path forward because of all the colors.
Okay. Hang on, we'll talk.
I think some of the blue and the red language is language that's necessary to clarify what we've already agreed to in green, but we are not in agreement on the clarity that's been looked for. That's the best way to phrase it, is so like, we can't just leave the green
Okay.
and then go, we'll just get rid of the blue and the reds, because I think that those are clarifying pieces on
Okay.
what we've agreed
Okay.
to.
I knew this would be the issue, so I only saved it for last because I knew it was a trouble. So that, you may have simplified life.
We say transfer process.
We
for
have a
less.
different complicated one for you, don't worry.
Yeah.
Now, here comes the whatever in the punch bowl. All right. And we'll discuss, we'll discuss that when we break on. And we're talking then, that's appendix B that you're saying, just
Yeah.
current contract.
Yeah.
I just want to make it clear for my,
But then we wanted to pass across those additional supplements that to be considered.
okay. Go ahead, you can do that.
Oh, yeah. Jacob, these are all the extras so far. Like, everyone's got a copy. Can you just keep those with the extra thing that you have? These are the same ones we've previously proposed. We've put them out there. Do we need to discuss them in further detail? We maybe relabeled a little bit, but add visual and musical arts director to include some of the additional musical things, right? We had originally discussed steel drum, but there are other musical opportunities at different schools, and so that would hopefully encompass them as well. I think that's the only major change. Everything else.
Okay, I understand that.
Okay.
What we'll do is consider this, and then we may come back and try to give in and discuss some of the blue language
Okay.
in B,
Okay.
with the understanding we don't want this to stop at all. I mean, with the understanding that if we can't, if we're not giving in enough, or we haven't, if certain things are hills to die on, we're not gonna die. So we may have a discussion on that.
Okay.
So we want to return to Article 7 and get your comments.
Okay.
This is just recalibration. I know that you guys were,
Yeah, we have a pass across.
oh, you have pass across?
Yes, we do.
Maybe we ought to just take their pass across.
Yeah, because right, this is exactly what
This
was.
is exactly the same.
Okay. So a few for down there. A few for over there. All of those. And then any extras will pass down to Jacob, he's storing extra extras. Jacob. And if you need any more.
So based off of one of our previous discussions and negotiations, we had made a suggestion about proportional time. And it was said that it was favorable that in terms of counter and everything. So we wanted to make sure that, well, that's what this basically says, is that ordinarily 5 days for pre-planning with 12 hours, but proportionally, if it goes up to 7, then it would be proportional to the 5 to 12.
So if it went to 6, proportionally, it would go to 16.8. If it went to 7,
It's 14.4.
14.
I think it's 2.4 hours a day.
2.4 hours a day.
Okay, you guys have lived with a long time, let me read it first.
Because Brett, what was initially in there?
Okay,
where we had-
I see
we
it, the
talked about
first
that
sentence, I see.
seventh day.
Yes.
I got-
But that's
I
up
saw
in
too much
January,
fast.
so we pulled it out of pre-planning.
Site measures.
And like if we want to address that in maybe another section of Article 7, but it doesn't fit exactly in pre-planning, so that's why it's 14.4.
First.
And there's already language that,
2.4 hours a day if you
Yeah.
just actually do the ratio.
And you even want it communicated, come on.
Yeah.
we think the
I know.
communication will help eliminate any potential grievances
So when you
of the
say,
time.
in comparison, 5 days to the 12 hours is 2 point whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, 2.4 hours of planning per day.
Any additional meetings called by instructor staff shall be voluntary. Any overages on non-individual activities. Any overages, is that beyond?
Beyond the
say-
12
say it's
hours.
12 hours.
Yeah.
In non-individual activities. Is that the principal meeting and or professional development? What's
It's
the
just
non-
inclusive of it all.
The only thing we have carved out, which is based on some kind of grievances we've started to process, was that any additional meetings called by instructional staff or voluntary, to say the department heads who are in the unit could not just keep calling unlimited meetings to ring up hourly
Okay,
stuff,
that's where I
right?
was
So the
Yeah,
principal
it's
would
like
need
they were
to-
gonna bank money on it or
I
something.
was
We don't think they
confused
do
about
that.
that.
right?
That's not happening, but
Because I was like, should that be admin? Okay, I got you.
All right.
and we believe that trying to do this within the first 2 days allows, rather than 2.5 hours a day, 2.5 hours a day, 2.5 hours a day kind of
Now, when
thing.
they just changed the start time, it's all messed up. Okay, even I understand this, so we'll get back.
Back of your holiday.
Yeah, I stayed at Holiday Inn, I've seen language like this. All right.
Do you want these extra copies back over your original?
Yeah. I will file them. My file cabinet. I usually come back and Carly, my paralegal, like, I have 7,000 copies. She's like, can you just keep one? Can you just keep one? Why do you do this to me?
Take them all.
All right.
Caucus soon on everything we've
Yes.
discussed.
I think I got, let me see if I got anything else.
And then we can pause before we start back up. No, nobody has.
We have 2 other kind of easy ones we think. They have not been brought forward before, but they're just pretty straightforward.
Sentence and
Falls under there.
any one of those.
This first one is just about unpaid leave, and we add a a little defining sentence at the bottom that says an employee granted leave under this section shall receive information regarding any change in monthly pay and benefit costs prior to taking leave. And so I think Pam could talk about personal experience with that.
Oh, yeah, like reflecting on maternity leave or long-term leaves of absence, FMLA, right, when it starts to impact your insurance, and then you're on unpaid leave, and what the outlook is, because a lot of that's pretty set in stone. I'm gonna be out for X number of weeks. What is that impact gonna be to my monthly pay, and how is that deduction's gonna be done? So it's very clear, as opposed to when you're not sleeping and everyone's crying around you, and then trying to figure it out.
And so you're saying before a person takes a leave, that the district will provide like a,
Yeah, if there's, yeah, right, if, for something like maternity leave, or usually 6 to 8 weeks, and then some go out on the full 12, what is that impact to their pay, the deductions of it, right? Because then supplements are changed as well, all throughout that time that a person's out.
Okay, so I get it. So
I think they have.
this is when we have advance notice, not a car accident.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct, advance notice.
So this
Yes.
is FMLA, you know,
A planned
Gotcha.
leave of absence.
We're gonna give you still another easy one before the caucus, though.
This is coming
All we
fast.
have done, oh, yeah. All we've done on this one is in bereavement leave, we've added great grandparents. So some people have brought this up to us, and people are living longer, they wanna go see their great grandparents off at their funeral, and they'll have bereavement leave for that.
Who would consider grandparents?
I don't know, their grandparents.
This is a subject I just hate negotiating bereavement leave, because it's just, everyone's had a sad situation in their families. And I have some districts who have none. And I'm like,
right.
it's hard to believe it.
can you tell me if there has been an instance in which we've had an employee who was declined based on the person being their great-grandparent as opposed to their grandparent? Because I, in my opinion.
It was declined just recently, yes. I can share the school site.
Yeah,
Hence, we have
that would be
language.
good.
Right.
I think that-
Shocking.
Yeah. I think
But
that everybody-
I agree that this is probably a real quick, easy one where we would agree upon it, but because it's not in the contract, just codify it and just be done with
Or
it.
because they're not outlined directly in the contract, people aren't even applying for it because it's not written as such.
I think I'm with Brett, that great-grandparents or grandparents, though. So it would just be clarifying the language then, yeah.
However you would like to
However we
do
can.
it.
Some grandparents aren't great.
That's a separate discussion point.
What about pets?
All right.
Pets.
Pets.
Like I said, too easy.
Pets are more.
No one heard that. We don't have the time for
Yes,
that.
Pets.
Ours,
Not going
our
there.
dog was putting that down, it was the hardest thing in our life.
I just had to do it with my cat. I mean, great grandparent, but that cat,
Great pets.
great pets, yeah.
Grandparents?
Some you're thankful, some you're grieving. Depending on the,
That's as far as, besides Article 14, that's everything that we had to pass across, I believe. I can look at my notes. We did 10, we gotta come back to 14. 7. It's extra. Almost there, comes the next one. Yep. Yeah, that was everything from our side besides 14.
okay. Go work on this,
Okay?
Yep.
and this is all, I think it's all doable. That's good. any questions, just text or get us, we're right over there.
Sure.
Okay,
I've
do-
had situations where people are waiting forever, and everyone thinks they're waiting on their side, so just.
Do we want to set a time, like a check back in time if we're
Sure.
ready? 45, 30 minutes enough?
Yeah, and we also have to decide, back to the importance of our.
Lunch.
Because I probably need an hour,
Okay,
so you guys decide. It's gonna be, I think, momos, so they're large.
sure, yeah.
So you guys decide what you want on it, and
I pretty much anything but mushrooms.
That's all I want.
All right, we'll chalk us in at 10:15.
Okay.
thank you, everybody.
Oh, great. Oh, that's not my room.
It's next to your room.
No, I got, parking room next between us. Hopefully it buffers us out.
Sulfur?
So which one's not next? It's the yellow, it's like a yellow.
What would that?
I didn't know
Oh.
anyone carried that book around
I don't
later.
know.
That's like a really odd.
Sometimes I can't get.
What sounds really
my
chemical and not good.
Right.
Computer in a school district.
Oh, yeah, okay,
You know?
so you got, yeah, all right.
And someone will quote it, I'm like, that's not what I was.
We focusing in here.